Hello everyone, welcome back to Civil Nirman. Today we are diving into a common warning or error that pops up in Staad while designing the reinforced concrete sections. See, and the warning is a suitable bar arrangement could not be determined. Now this sounds a bit tricky, right? But don't worry, I'll break it down step by step for you with an easy example. So, what does this message actually means? See, well, after Staad calculates the required reinforcement for your beam or column, it tries to determine three things. First one, how many bars you need. Second, what size the bar should be. And third one, how to arrange them to meet the design requirements. Right? See, Staad checks if the arrangement satisfy the codal requirements like minimum and maximum spacing between bars, clear spacing to avoid congestion, and ensuring the bars fit within the section dimensions that you have provided, right? So let's just take an example that let's say you are designing a particular beam, and let's say we have this particular beams at plinth level which has a section size of, let's say, 230 by 450 mm. So let's say for 230 by 450 mm, we usually, what we do when we check the Staad output, let's say I'll click on the beam option over here, right? We usually decide bars based on AST provided on top and bottom, right? So let's assume that why this warning is generated through an example. So let's say I have a requirement of, let's say, bottom as 810 mm square, and on the top I have the requirement of 650 mm square, right? And my section size is 230 by 450, right? Now it might happen that, let's say, while designing your section profile, you might have specified the main bar and secondary bar reinforcement as well, right? Here we have FY main, FY secondary classification, sorry, maximum main, maximum secondary classification as well, right? Now let's assume that you have set maximum main as 16 mm diameter and secondary as 8 mm, right? So Staad will design, while running the analysis, Staad will combining the bar specification starting with 16 mm bar dia. Okay, now let's see what happens if you have 16 mm bar dia, right? So for the bottom requirement, let's say it is starting with the 16. So what I can do is, if I check with 4 number of bar dias, my area of steel, let's say for single 16 mm bar dia, the area requirement is 200 mm square. So for 4 number of bars, my requirement will be 800 mm square. Okay, so you can put it in a 2 layers, but let's say I want to arrange that in a single layer, so 4 number of bars will not be sufficient for the bottom, as the requirement is 810 mm square. So what I can do is, I can go ahead with 3 number of bars with 20 mm dia, which has the satisfactory requirement of 810. So for 3 number of 20 mm dia, the requirement will be sufficient, means the provided reinforcement will be 942 mm square, right? So I can put 3 number of 20 mm dia at the bottom. Now if we discuss for the top part, the requirement is 650 mm square. So even if I put 4 number of bars, okay, the requirement will be 800 mm square, so I'll go with 3. So 3 number of bars are not sufficient for the top reinforcement part, right? So for the top bars, this requirement is not sufficient. Also I have to keep in mind the width of the member size as well. See, the width is 230 mm, so it is quite impossible to put 4 number of 16 mm bar dia in the single layer in 230 mm width by after deducting covers and all the spacing between 2 bars. So ultimately, while designing, what Staad will do is, so ultimately for this particular, while running the analysis, Staad checks if these bars are fit within the section while satisfying the codal provisions criteria, like spacing check, are the bars placed too close or too far apart. Second, clear cover check, do the bars maintain the required cover from the concrete edges. And third one, fit check, can all these bars fit within 230 mm width. See, if Staad finds that the arrangement violates any of these requirements, it tries alternative solution with the different bar sizes or spacings. But sometimes even after multiple trials, Staad cannot find a suitable bar arrangement. That's when you see this particular warnings: a suitable bar arrangement could not be determined. Right? Now what's the solution for this? And that's why these warnings appears. Right? Now how you can fix this? So you have basically two solutions. The first one is, instead you need to modify the minimum main bar diameter requirement. Instead of 16 mm, you can go ahead with 12 mm. Right? So what Staad will perform in the next iteration, it will try to analyze the member size with 12 mm and 16 mm bar diameter. Right? So if we go ahead with three combination, like 3 number of 16 dia and 2 number of extra bar as 12 mm, it will satisfy your requirement for the top portion. So you can arrange 3 number of 16 bar dias on the top. Let's say 3 number of 16 plus 2 extra bars for the negative reinforcement, for the negative moments. Right? So that's how you can rearrange this. So this is one solution. Instead you need to modify your main, you need to check first whether the main reinforcement is higher, or you can go with the lower diameter. Second option is increase the beam dimension. So 230 mm width is not sufficient to accommodate 416 mm bar dias in a single row, so you just need to modify that. You can modify this with 300 width and 450 and reanalysis the whole structure. Okay, and last option is you just have to check your moments and load values if it is possible to reduce. Ensure that the extra top bars are necessary. If your moments are overestimated, you may be providing excessive reinforcement, so you need to recheck the loads and moments. So these are the possible solutions. Remember, this error isn't a bug, it's a Staad's way of telling you that your current design doesn't meet code requirements. Keep your bar size range flexible, check your beam dimensions, and ensure that your reinforcement is practical. So in our example, increasing the beam width to 300 mm would lightly fix the issue while maintaining all the required bars and spacing, or else you can go ahead with the lower bar diameter as I suggest. I hope these examples help you to understand why Staad sometimes can't determine a bar arrangement and how to fix it. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more structural engineering tips, and drop a comment below if you have questions or want me to cover other Staad topics. See you in the next video. Keep learning, keep sharing.